Welcome back to Sign and Slabbed, everyone. My name is David. If you like these videos, please hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends. You can also find me on Instagram at Sign and Slabbed. So today's video, I wanted to do a quick flip recap of some items that I bought not too long ago on auction, moved them to a different platform and sold them. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. So here we go. So if you guys remember, I had purchased these six baseballs: Jonathan Winters, Janet Lee, Eric Estrada, Charles Kuralt, Martin Short, and David Letterman. I bought these in a golden auction back at the beginning of September. So first, I want to talk a little bit about what drew me that auction. I know through my own collecting that autographed baseballs are something that there are a group of collectors out there that really like, even for people that obviously don't play baseball. And so, as part of the auction hunting that I do each week on all the different sites, I run across this because I tend to bid in the Golden Weekly and Elites, but every week in the weeklies. And I saw this, and there was a David Letterman baseball in there, which is really what I wanted. I wanted that for me, and so I did a minimal amount of research, but ultimately decided that at a certain dollar level, this lot would make sense, and I could probably sell the baseballs that I didn't really want, hopefully for enough money to be able to at least be able to keep the Letterman for myself and my collection. And one of the things that also this happens frequently at a lot of the auction sites, these were bundled together as a group, but in reality, they probably make more sense as singles. Now, at some of the auction houses, that results in such a low dollar value potentially per single auction that it's just not worth doing. And so that's how at some of these non-eBay auction houses, things do get grouped together like that sometimes. But I felt like that this was worth the risk and might even have some upside. So let's take a look at what they cost and then what I did with them. So right here we have the original auction. So the six baseballs, as you can see, and the winning bid 150 bucks plus the buyer's premium of 20% for 180 total. And let's just call it 20 bucks shipping because it'll make the math easier. I won these with a couple of other lots, so I got combined shipping for that at that time. But we'll call this six baseballs for 200 bucks. All right, so if we do a quick breakdown here, here are the six baseballs, 33 bucks a piece for the 200 total. These are the dates and the amounts that I sold them for, and then I'm computing my net at 87%, which is roughly what I get out of my eBay store. I also would have made a buck or two on shipping each of these, but it's not enough to change the outcome. So at the end of the day, for the four that I've sold, I've ultimately made back all my money, plus 90 bucks profit, so almost 46%. And I still have the Estrada and Letterman left. And as I mentioned, I wanted to keep the Letterman. But if I drop those out because I already paid for, I'm returning on average 80% on each of these baseballs when I sell them. So, I think anytime that's a magnificent flip, especially when you consider that it's only 90 days. All right, so let's wrap this up. I want to talk about a couple of ideas that will hopefully help you in your collecting along the way and give you some ideas of maybe how to find things like this. Number one, bidding in these auctions can be a grind. There are a lot of auctions every week, there are a lot of auction houses. It's a lot to get through. But as this particular lot will show you, there's always something out there. And being able to spot those values can really help you in terms of either acquiring pieces that you want. Like in this case, I really wanted just the David Letterman out of that, but also identifying those values that maybe give you an opportunity to sell something and make a couple bucks to help you, afford some new items for your actual PC. And, in this instance, look, there was time and effort involved. I had to bid and, won it, got it in, had to take the pictures, get things ready, move it into eBay. It took me a little while to do that. I won this auction at the beginning of September. I posted pictures of the baseballs on my Instagram story timeline at the beginning of October, but then I sat on them for another month and a half before I finally listed them right in front of Thanksgiving, with the thought being that, around that timeline, some people might be looking for some kind of unique Christmas gifts, which is what I imagine these very well could have been. But regardless of that, it takes some education. Obviously, I knew a lot about this space. The other thing that I hadn't mentioned yet, they were all already authenticated by PSA DNA, which was a big plus. So I didn't have to do anything extra. This was just a straight move over on the platforms from the Golden auction site to the eBay site. And another thing to think about, especially when you're selling, this was something that was grouped together. It was just an auction, highest bid was going to win. I sold these via fixed price or best offer listings in my eBay store. And from that perspective, I like selling that way because it gives me better control over the selling price. Sometimes I do auctions, but I also recognize that when I do, they're just going to go for what they go for. And in that regard, there can be upside from the auction process when you're selling, but there can also be downside. Using fixed price or OBO, I have control ultimately over what it sells for and can be happy with the results, or I can simply decline the offers. But I had a couple of these were set with minimum bid level that if it was offered, it would auto accept. So that was nice. So anyway, end of the day, really good flip. Couple baseballs left. The one that I wanted. I've got an Estrada left over that I could give away or I could still sell. His comrade from Chips is going to actually be at the show in Houston in January. So, not sure, I may pay to get him to sign that, or maybe look for somebody at the show that doesn't necessarily want to spend the money on both of them and can get it at maybe a little bit cheaper by just doing one. Don't know. Anyway, that is a wrap for this flip. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll try to do more of these as the rest of the year and 2024 goes on. Like a lot of you, I imagine, I kind of got distracted during the Thanksgiving holiday, and that's carried over a little bit. I've fallen prey to hobby rule number one, which is the hobby is lazy. Guilty sometimes. Happens to all of us. But it's usually not hard to get back out of it. And so I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Please comment, I'll reply. And until next time, Sign and Slab signing out.